Hello everyone, and welcome to another How Loose Sees It review. Today I'm reviewing Qwixx by Gamewright Games. It is a real simple dice game for 2 to 5 players, and it takes about 10-15 minutes to play. You open the box, what you'll find is this set of instructions. It's kind of a glossy type finish on it. It's just a simple fold out here. The other side is in a different language. So real simple rules actually. The instructions are very well done. Diagrams, illustrations. So very easy to understand. The rules are great. You'll also get a pad of paper here for keeping track of score. I do wish that there was a little bit more of these, but you can, print more off the computer and things like that. Make copies however you need, but the quality of the paper and the illustrations and the color and everything on this are really nice as well. Then, of course, we have the actual dice. You'll see we have 2 white dice, and then we have 1 die in each of the 4 colors that we have here, corresponding with what's on the score sheet. And basically on the game, what you're trying to do is you're trying to score the most points, and you do that by getting these numbers in each of the rows. So at the end of the game, for example, if you have 7 numbers crossed off in the blue row, you would score 28 points for that row, and so forth. The game ends when either someone's locked, or these rows, 2 of these rows have been locked, which I'll get to, or someone has filled in their all 4 of their penalty boxes, which I'll get to in a second as well. So as the game ends, you're trying to get as many X's in those, and basically what your turn looks like is you'll take a turn. On your turn, you roll the dice, and first things first, you look at the white dice, and the white dice alone. The person shouts out the number 3, or if people can see that, 3, and then at this point in time, the current active player and any of the other players may fill in a number 3 in any of the 4 rows, as long as it hasn't been locked at that point. And the strategy behind filling in these rows is you have to fill in left to right. If I fill in a 3 in the green or the blue, that would be a terrible move, because then I wouldn't be able to fill in any of these other boxes left of that X. So in this case, I would go ahead and want to mark this 3. Okay, and I may want to do something else depending on the other dice, but we'll see. So, and then other players can mark a 3 as well. I don't have to mark a 3 if I don't want to, and the other players are not required to as well. And we'll get into why you wouldn't want to mark down a number. But then it comes to the second part of my turn, and looking at all of the dice, I can match up 1 of the white dice with 1 of these colored dice and fill in that corresponding number on that color row. So if I take this one, this would add up to 5. I could fill in the 5 of blue, or looking at my other ones, this could 5 of green, or I could fill in a 6 of yellow or a 6 of red. None of those are looking real great. Or I can look at this other one. So 4 of blue, 4 of green. None of those are looking that great, so I'm going to choose actually not to fill in another one. And why I would do that is if I'm filling in these middle numbers of 6s or things like that too early in the game, it limits me in my ability. But re-looking at this, looks like I actually have 5, so maybe I'd want to do that. So I could mark off the 5 of yellow on that row as well. Okay. So the game progresses like this, just as it passes around, and that's one thing I really like about the game as well, is even when you aren't rolling the dice, you're going to be looking at your score chart and trying to evaluate, okay, do I want to utilize, if someone's next roll rolled a 2, you know, do I want to utilize that? Yeah, I would go ahead and mark off this 2 of red. Pretty much a no-brainer on that one. And again, I wouldn't be able to mark off this 2 because I have X's here. So anything left of this X now, I'm not going to be able to fill in. And the game progresses that way. You to lock a row, you have to, there's a little reminder up here, you have to have at least 5 numbers crossed off in that row, 5 X's in this row before you can mark off a 12 or a 2 in the other columns. If you are lucky enough to later in the game, let's say I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers crossed off and I rolled a 12, I would mark the 12 and I mark an X in the lock, so you get a bonus for locking the row. And so for that row, later at the end of the game for scoring, I would now have 7 X's, and I would come there and 7 X's, and in the yellow box here I would write 28 as we're scoring those up. Now later in the game, as you get more and more X's on your score chart here, scorecard, there may come a time where you really don't want to, or maybe you can't, physically can't, you have X's marked all over here, but you rolled something corresponding that you would have to mark it down here, but you can't. In that case, then you'd have to mark one of these penalty squares. And at the game, you can see each of those is going to be at -5 points that would be subtracted from your total score. And that's the game. It's really fun. Oh, the one thing I did fail to mention here is when I lock this yellow row, we're going to remove this yellow die from the game. So now everyone will roll this. And it's just kind of a reminder, and it's a good mechanic there that no one can fill in anything on that yellow row anymore. Anyway, so that's Qwixx. It's very easy to teach and learn. We played it with some nephews, and it really goes over well. You know, you have simple addition of the dice here, checking off numbers, a little bit of strategy and sequence, you know, learning there for the kids. But it's a fun, quick dice game. Really simple. Again, it's just the 6 dice, some scorecards here, but well worth you know, learning the game. The quality of the components and everything is really nice as well. So definitely worth checking out. With the holidays coming up too, you know, this is a good size for a stocking gift, if you will. So that is Qwixx by Gamewright.